Alright. It's been a while coming. I guess we'll call this more or less the first in a series of videos. I hope to get others involved in this. Probably Venomous Fat Man. He agreed to do sort of an pseudo-interview type deal on the subject. Basically, it's my opinions on Hollywood and how they tend to ruin movies. For instance, more recently would be Kick-Ass, and Mark Millar's other project, Wanted. Basically, Hollywood gives, I don't know what the hell is going on in their heads, but anyone who's read Kick-Ass knows that it ends totally differently than what you saw in the theaters. For instance, they reveal who the Red Mist is right off the hop. In the comics, you don't know who the Red Mist is. Like, he just basically comes out of nowhere, not to mention an assload of others that are mentioned, but it doesn't go into that. So when the Red Mist does betray them and shoots Hit Girl, you see it coming. You aren't caught off guard by it at all. So the impact of the scene is totally just friggin' ruined. And yeah. He doesn't get the girl at the end. I don't know what it is with Hollywood with making the main character get the girl at the end. Like, what happens in the comic is he tells her, but he doesn't tell her till near the end. They're at school, and he's all like, "Oh, I'm kick-ass, and I'm not gay." And she's like, "What the fuck?" And then she gets her boyfriend to, because she has a boyfriend at that point, to tell him to fuck off and never talk to her again. And she tells him the same thing, calls him a weirdo fucking stalker, and he's all like, "Ah, shit." And he's left homeless and alone by, well, not homeless, but he's left alone by himself. In the movie, he's like, "Oh, I got something to live for, and this is why people don't do heroics." No. In the comic, what happens is, when he gets hit by the car, and goes through the months and months of physical therapy, and sees the bills that he leaves his father with for the medical bills, because physical therapy don't come cheap. Neither do all the operations for hip replacement and all that fucking metal plating that's put in him, because he fucking got ruined by a car. He's all like, "This is bullshit. This is why people don't do this shit, because you end up in the hospital or dead." And that's how he sees that you shouldn't do fucking put on a costume and be a retard and go out and try and stop crime. Another thing is, there was no jetpack in the comic. I can't stress how angry that made me and my friend when we saw the movie. Like, the whole thing is supposed to be a realistic take on what would happen if some guy were to become a vigilante, more or less. And throwing a jetpack in, yeah, okay, whatever. Jetpacks do exist, and they do have, you know, they have some that have like a flight time, but it takes a while to master this thing, and not fucking 10 minutes like he has in the movie, and not with the added weight of two basically helicopter mounted miniguns that are strapped to the back. It totally destroyed all sense of realism in the movie, and in fact, I believe it went out of its way to actually end or ruin and offset the message of the comic, which is, you know, because in the comic, what happens is, after Big Daddy and Kick-Ass get captured. And they get beaten up and whatnot. He gets savagely tortured and in the basement of the building. He doesn't go and... He isn't in a totally different building. Basically, what happens is, right from getting tortured to Hit Girl rescuing him, basically, he gets his ass handed to him, and then Hit Girl takes him. When Hit Girl goes up in the elevator in the movie, Kick-Ass is supposed to be with her right then and there, and he's all bandaged up, and he's got the shit kicked out of him, but he's nutting it up, and he's gonna go be a badass and settle his score with Red Mist and the rest. And also, which I was kind of looking forward to but didn't get to see because they cut it out or just didn't put it in, was halfway through the series, Big Daddy puts in Hit Girl's utility belt something he calls Code Red, which Kick-Ass asks her when she uses it in the elevator just before they go into the final fight. He's like, "Is that cocaine?" And she's like, "No, silly! That's magical healing regenerative power stuff developed by scientists." Falling back on Big Daddy's training for Hit Girl. And that's something else I'll go into in a sec. And basically it turns out it's cocaine, and it sends her into a drug-fueled frenzy. And she goes and she hands the ass of Giovanni's men, or whatever the fuck his name is, and Kick-Ass goes off, finds Red Mist, and beats the shit out of him with some sticks, and then they go off on their own, and that's how it ends. Well, yeah, that's how that ends. That's the boss fight ends, and then Hit Girl goes and gets returned to her mom. In the comics, Big Daddy, not only does he not die by getting lit on fire, he gets shot in the back of the head. Like, his death scene is not drawn out as it was with Nicolas Cage's efforts. He's just, "Oh god, no!" And then they just pin him to the ground, shoot him in the back of the head, and that's the end of it. But it turns out Big Daddy stole Hit Girl from her mother. Basically, they're divorced parents, and he's all like, "I don't want her to be raised like your average person." So he steals her. And they go on the run, and he trains her and to be a badass superhero. And he pays for it all with selling first edition comics of Superman 1 and all that. But they obviously, I guess, they couldn't put in stuff like that in Kick-Ass other than name drop Spider-Man, Superman, whatnot. They couldn't really show anything, I don't know, I guess for royalty reasons and shit like that. But, yeah. Point is, the movie, I think, should have been treated like it was almost one-to-one in terms of sticking to source material. I think it could have been 1-to-1, but instead they went 1 to 0.85 in terms of sticking with, because they had to put in bullshit Hollywood stuff. I don't know why Hollywood always seems to have to put in shit like love interests and bad guys wear black and good guys wear white and the hero always gets the girl. It doesn't always have to end that way. It can end with the guy being doing it all for nothing, getting nothing out of it other than having his ass handed to him, some astonishing medical bills, and his life basically in shambles. It could end like that, otherwise the whole meaning is destroyed. Basically, it tells you can go out and do this, and it'll all work out in the end. You'll have someone who shares your interests and whatnot. You'll fucking get to fly a jetpack and other retarded things. Basically, you know what? Fuck you, Hollywood.